Now here we had the first date of the month 1 to 2024 is written that you return goods worth rupees 50,000 to Raju Bhavan as it had expired, or whatever may be the reason. We are given with an information that you have returned goods worth rupees 50,000 and to go to Raju Bhavan. I think you remember who Raju Bhavan was. On the same day, okay, on the 5th of February this year, on the same day last month, 5th of January, we purchased goods worth rupees 4,50,000 from Rajiv Bhai. Okay. Last month on the same day, we purchased goods for over rupees 4,50,000 one from Rajiv Bhai. This month, what we are doing? Out of that, we are returning goods for rupees 50,000. So we are going to write a journal entry to that. Okay. Remember, when we purchased, okay, when we made a purchase, the expense purchase increased and same time the liability Raju Bhai increased. Raju Bhai, since we have this, we are obligated to make payment to him. He is our liability. So when we made the credit purchase, the liability and same time the expense purchase increased. But remember here, what is happening? Here we are making the reverse things. When we purchased, we got something, and when we are returning it, we are losing something. So remember the opposite of this would happen. That means the expense purchase should reduce, and the same time, what should happen? The liability to the Raju will also reduce. Just think you can, a common man can just think about that. When we have borrowed goods worth 4,50,000 from Raju, and when we return, okay, this is goods worth 50,000 is not good. I don't need it means. Now we are only obligated to make a payment of how much? Just 4 lakh to him, isn't it? We took goods worth 4 lakh 50,000 from him. From that, we return him goods worth 50,000. Now we need to pay him just 4 lakh rupees. That means the liability has reduced. Now we got what the situation is and just see what journal entry should be made for this situation. Okay, since the liability decreased, we know when the liability increased, we should give credit. Since liability decreased, we should give debit. Okay, now we know that journal entry would begin with Raju bought it too. Now, what else happened? We know the expense purchase, it also decreased. When expense increase, we give debit. When expense decrease, we give credit. Okay, now we know it is Raju by the liability debted to purchase the expense. So I hope the journal entry is clear for you. You can just how to write this exact journal entry. Here we go. Now we are starting a new month, so we can draw a line here. Okay. Now this is how the journal entry will come. The date is 1 to 2024. And what we did? We did Raju Boy account letter to purchase account. And we just return goods for rupees 50,000. Now the journal entry is what we just see. The liability Raju Boy is debited because what happened? The liability reduced. The purchase is credited because the expense is not 4,50,000 just 4 lakh. No, the expense also have reduced. There is an alternative to write this journal entry when purchase return comes. Very usually we use to open a purchase return account. Okay. I don't want you people to get confused with something extra. So I'm just telling you as if the role is going. Okay. Just leave it. I just mentioned that thing. Okay. Okay. Now we can move to the next transaction. On the same month, second thing, it happened in 5th. We paid 3 lakh to Raju Bhai and purchased goods worth rupees 5 lakh from him. Okay. On the 5th of February. Let's see in the last month, same date, we made a purchase. That means that every month this business is going to make purchase on 5th. Don't think this will happen regularly. They may happen changes. But we got an idea that this company or this business is making purchases on same date in every month. Just leave that. I just want to mention that. Now let's see. On 5th February 2024, we did two things. Okay, what are they? We paid rupees 3 lakh to Raju Bhai, and the same time we made a purchase of rupees 5 lakh from him. So we have to write two journal entries. For the first thing, what we did, we paid rupees 3 lakh to Raju Bhai. Everybody know Raju Bhai is a liability of the business. So we have the obligation to make payment to him. When we make repayment to a liability, what happens? Will the liability increase or decrease? We needn't doubt the liability will decrease. How? Just remember now currently we have to pay 4 lakh rupees to Raju, right? Okay. Now, when we pay 3 lakh rupees, how much is left for us to pay? Just 1 lakh, isn't it? That means the liability has reduced to 1 lakh from 4 lakh. So it is ultimately clear that when we repay our debt, our liability decreases. So we know the Raju by the liability decreased by 3 lakh. Now, when a liability decrease, what should we do? When liability increase, according to the rule of ICIC, we give credit to the item. So here the liability is decreasing. So it is undoubtable that we should give debit to the item. So we know the journal entry would begin with what Raju by equated to. If you remember, the last journal entry also begin with Raju by equated to because there also we had a decrease in the liability. Okay. Now, have it been mentioned that how the payment was made? No, nothing is mentioned about how the payment was made. Remember, if a payment or a receipt is given, and the same time the mode of payment is not mentioned, we can, without any doubt, we can assume that the payment was made in cash. So cash is an asset. When we make payment, we lose cash. Our cash become reduced. When the cash reduce means cash is an asset, isn't it? So when asset reduce, we give credit. Now we have the journal entry Raju by account refer to cash account. Now we can see how we will properly like write it in the journal. Okay, the date is 5 to 2024. And we know we have paid money to Raju by. Okay. Now it is we have to debit Raju by because the liability Raju by has reduced. When liability decreases, we debit. So the column begins with Raju by the total. We know we have made the payment with cash is nothing else is important. So Raju by the total cash. So how by how much did Raju by the liability decrease? By 3 lakh. Since we have made a repayment of rupees 3 lakh, the liability of rupees by 3 lakh. Now we wrote here cash because cash has reduced. But how much the cash has reduced? Now we write in the credit side column that the cash has reduced by 3 lakh. Now the transaction is that of the concept is clear for you. Now what you have to write? We should surely give a narrations that any common man doing we should understand. So we made repayment to anything you can write. Okay, repayment to the right. Okay, this is how the journal entry would come. But remember, on the same day, something else also happened. You see what's that? Here it is on the same day, 5 to 2024. We paid 3 lakh and once again we made purchase of goods worth rupees 5 lakh from him. So that means we first borrowed, made some payment. Now once again we are going to borrow from him. Of how many rupees? 5 lakh rupees. I know you all know very well how to write this journal entry because we have written it before. When we make purchase, of course, purchase is given debit because it is an expense increasing. And at the same time, here we are not paying cash, we are what borrowing the goods. So we go the increase, we increase what the liability value by. So it is given credit. So the journal entry would come as what? Purchase account entered to Raju by. Now we can see how to write this journal entry. We have done this before. The same thing, the date and amount amount changes. This is how the journal entry will come on the same day, so they are not repeating the same date once again. If you want, you can have it, no problem, which is also correct. This is how the purchase account to value by and the is for the purchase, the amount is for the back. Now we can once again go to the journal entry, I mean the transactions. This is not journal entry, we are just given as transactions. Now we are converting to the journal entry. Yeah, the next date is 15 to 2024. What happened on that day? Rahman arranged a party in our restaurant worth rupees 12 lakh and agreed to settle the bill next month. So, what is it? Just remember, Rahman is a person who made a purchase from us. Or, in other words, the restaurant sold something to Rahman. Here it is written as a party. Party means what? It is a product or a cluster of services and product given to customers in a restaurant. So for the restaurant, it is absolutely a product. Now we have sold Rahman a party. Just think like that. We have sold Rahman a party. That means this 12 lakhs is the income of the business. Okay. So we know very well this is a sales that we have made, and the sales is an income of the business. Just keep it in the mind. What else is said? He agreed to settle the bill next month. That means the person has not paid the bill, isn't it? Okay, when the person doesn't pay the bill and agree to pay the bill in a future date, or a person makes a purchase from the business and agrees to make the payment in a future date, that person is called debtor of the business. Okay, when we made credit purchase from Raju Bhai was a creditor to us. Okay, when we were was when we sold something in credit to Rahman become debtor of the business. I want to mention one thing. Please don't think the debit and credit I said now have any relation with the debit and credit we use in journal entries. Debit and credit in journal entries doesn't mean anything, but debit means writing at the top, credit means writing below. Here, the meaning is different. Please try to understand that. Okay. Now we know Rahman is a debtor of the business. Okay. Debtor being a person who will make payment in future, or being a person from whom we expect a future cash inflow, is absolutely an asset of the business. Now we have said two things. We made a sales, and sales is an income of the business. We haven't received cash, instead we have got a new debtor which is an asset of the business. Now we know both of these things increased by this transaction. Our asset called Rahman increased, and our income called sales also increased. When income increased, we should give credit because as per the LIC rule, when liability income and capital increase, we should give credit. Now, we know the debtor being an asset when increase, we should give debit to it. So the journal entry would come as Rahman account debtor to sales. Hope it is clear for you. Now we can see how we will write that. Remember, Rahman is a customer of the business. He didn't make the payment. Okay, when he failed to pay the payment or he agreed to make the payment in a future date, he become the asset of the business. He become a debtor to the business from whom the business expect future cash inflow. Cash inflow means fast. Just we expect him to make payment in a future date. Now let's see how we will write this as a journal entry. You know the date is 15, that's it. 15 to 2024. Okay. Now we know the asset name Pratma has increased. An asset increase will give debit to it. So Rahman account is debited, transaction. Debited to what? Debited to sales. We have got an asset because we have made a sales to him, but he failed to make the payment. Also, he has agreed to make the payment in future. So we expect cash to come from him in the future date. So he is an asset of the business. Now, for how much amount we have made the sales? If you remember, it was 12 lakh rupees. So Rahman has the obligation. Now, when we write this, just understand. Rahman has the obligation to take 12 lakh rupees to the business, and at the same time, we have made a sales of rupees 12 lakh. Now remember, by this we know a sales had happened for rupees 12 lakh, and we haven't received the cash instead of the person has agreed to make the payment in future date. Now we can mark it as a credit sales of the business. Yes, right, sales. That's it. Now we can see what happened next. Next is I think the last element of this month. Yeah, on 26 February 2024, we paid salary to employees on rupees 3 lakhs. Okay, just look at what happened 26th of the last month. There also we paid salary. That means we can just assume that this business is making their payment of salary to the employees on 26th of every month. Now we can move to the journal entry and see how we should write the journal entry. I don't think I need to repeat this because we have written a lots of expenses in the nature. We know salary is a expense of the business, expense of any business. When we think salary from the part of the person who receives it, it's an income. But for this person, for the business, he is giving salary, he is paying salary. For him, it is an expense of the business. So we need to know when expense increase, like purchase, salary is also an expense. When expense increase, what should we do? We should give it debit. So we will debit the salary account debited to what? We know we have paid the salary. When a payment or receipt is made and the mode is not mentioned, we can easily assume that it was made with the help of cash. Now, another justification is what? The asset cash has decreased. When asset decrease, we give credit to it. Now we will write the amount 3 lakhs here near to salary because we have paid a salary of 3 lakh rupees. And just parallel to cash also we write 3 lakh rupees. Why? Because we know a reduction of rupees 3 lakhs has happened to cash. Now we can write the memory what? Simple paid salary. And by this, I think the journal entries of the second month is finished. Yeah. In the next video, we can see how to make the journal entries of the third month. If you feel any difficulty, feel free to ask. Okay, it's your right. Thank you.